Hey guys, Squdge here, welcome back to another video. Today I have a 101 for you. Today we are looking at the wonderful world of magnets. Now, I use magnets a lot in my albums. They are great closures, they are great for holding things in place, they are fantastic. But there is a lot to consider when you use magnets, and I'm often asked the same questions and I'm often explaining the same things, and what I wanted to do was create a video where I can give you all the information in one go and you can refer back to this whenever you need additional information or you need to check something, okay? If I miss anything from this video, please leave me a comment down below and I will do my best to answer it. So, first step, we're just going to look at the magnets that I personally have and why. So I'm going to start off with the largest magnets that I have. So I have these magnets here, which are use my plastic ruler, not my metal ruler, so they don't stick to it. So these are 5/8 of an inch or 15 millimeters. You will usually find them measured in millimeters. So 15 are my large ones. I then have, it's interesting trying to pry magnets away from each other. I then have two different types of mediums. So I have some 10 millimeter and I also have some 8 millimeter. And in inches that is 3/8 and 5/16. This is why millimeters are often easier. I then have some tiny ones which are 5 millimeters or just under 1/4 of an inch. Get off the bottom and join at the top, please, because I wanted to see. There we go. There we go. Okay. Apparently I need some more of them to there we go. So 15, 10, 8 and 5. Those are the ones that I use. I personally always use 1 millimeter deep. You can get much deeper. I used to use these and I have quite a few left over. And these, as you can see, are much deeper. So these are 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch thick, and they are the same thickness as, let's see how many, 3 of these. So they are quite thick in comparison. If I only put one there, the difference is quite thick. Hoping you can kind of see that difference, especially if I stand them up like that. Hopefully you can see that difference. Now I will get pictures of all of these as well to add for you. These are okay, but they will make a bulge in your paper. They'll make a big bulge in your paper. So I'm just going to show you with this sheet here. Okay. So on my large piece, I'm just going to stick both magnets. Okay. and I'll explain how I'm going to stick them in a minute, but I'm just going to stick both magnets down. Just at opposite ends of my tape. Okay, so I'm just going to stick this one down like so. There we go. And then I'm going to pull back the tape backing, stick these on top. So one's going to stick this side, one is going to stick this side. Okay, and so I'm hoping that you can see the bulge you get from that larger magnet and the way it puckers your paper. So that's why I don't like using deeper magnets. I prefer to use shallower magnets. But everyone has their own preference, and if you prefer to use a deeper magnet, do you. You do you. Honestly. You do you. That's my advice. Okay, next piece of advice. How to add your magnets. There are a couple of ways you can do it. So, if I have this flap, for example, okay, and I want to close this, first thing I'm going to do is get some tape, and I'm going to tear off a small piece, probably about that length. I'm going to take my magnet, for this I'm going to use one of the tiny ones as an example. I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to cover it in tape. So that magnet is now secure. Now I need one here, so that when it closes, it stays closed. It doesn't pop open. Okay. I'm not going to be able to figure out where it goes on this side, so I have to use this as my guide. So the first thing that I do is just get another magnet and put it on top. That way I know exactly where the magnet should be. And you have two options here. You can do a really fiddly little cut a piece of tape, stick it on top so it sticks. But I don't like fiddly, I like easy. So I'm going to tear another piece of tape about the right size. I'm going to turn it so the sticky side is facing up. Okay? And then all I'm going to do is lift this magnet straight up and put it down on that tape. So the magnet is on the sticky side, but the magnet is still attracted to the one underneath. So I didn't turn it over, it's still attracted to that magnet underneath. Okay? And now my tape has the sticky side up, I can just close this, press down, and now I have a magnet on this side in the right place, and it will close and stay closed. Okay? That I find is the easiest way to add the magnet. You make sure the tape is sticky side up and you put it on. Okay? I'll do another example. Let's grab another piece of card. This time I will use two different colours just so you can really see. Start off on this one. On the white, I'm going to add a magnet here. So I've just put the magnet on, tape on top, secure it down. I'm then going to get another magnet on top. So I know it's facing the right way, I know it's the right way up. Take another piece of tape, turn it over so the sticky side is up, and then lifting the magnet straight up and straight back down. So now it's still attracted to that magnet underneath, the sticky side of the tape is up, And then all I'm going to do is place the other piece on top, like so, and now the magnet is on here. So now these two are magnetised. Okay? So, how to apply magnets sorted. The next question I really get asked is, how many do I need? How do I space them? How do I figure that out? So if we start, for example, with a piece like this. If I had a page that was this tall, which is, just for your interest, 6 inches. So if I had something that was 6 inches, if I was using large magnets, I would probably use either 2 or just 1 in the middle. Okay, because they're larger magnets. If I was using my middle-sized, I would definitely use 2. 1 near the top, 1 near the bottom. Okay. If I was using my little magnets, I would probably use 3 or 4. So I'd have 1 top and bottom. But because they're so small, I would also have 1 in the middle. You don't want them too close to each other because they'll just attract. So you want to make sure there's enough of a gap, but you want to make sure they will be strong enough. Because if I've got tiny magnets and thick card, then I need more of them to hold it. It will also matter how thick your card is. If you are using very thin printer paper, you know, if it's really thin, you will not need as many as you need for something thicker. So those are your options. The next option is, when is it best to use a magnet compared to another opening or another closure? Now you could use a ribbon, you could use a swing tab, you could use a tie closure. There's so many different closures you can use. I use magnets when there is a really small area. So for example, in my Christmas album, these are magnetised. Because they're so small, if I put another closure on, it's going to use up the space. So here I have the full space to put a picture on. Okay, but for example, with something like this, I have used a magnet, but I didn't need to. I could have tied a ribbon over the top or around the sides. So it depends where and how you are arranging things. Another example is this, which folds out. This doesn't need any magnets. It holds itself together with the fold. I just added a decoration in the middle. It doesn't need it. So you need to look at what it is you're creating and think about, does it actually need to be held with a magnet? Obviously something to consider is, if you're going to be posting these out, how many magnets you use, the type of magnet you use, etc. Now I will put some links down in the description for you for where I get my magnets from. You can get them from many places. So I'm just going to give you examples of where I get my ones from. So one of the main considerations that I have to bring up, especially when using magnets in albums, is pages that are going to be next to each other. So if you've got a page on this side, I'll grab out my album again and use my centre page as an example. These two pages, when the book is closed, are facing each other. Okay, these both have a magnet here. Okay, they have magnet there and magnet there. Okay, so if those magnets were in the same direction, when this closes, they would stick together. Okay, it would flip like that. And then your pages are stuck together. So when I built these, I made sure that one magnet is this way up and the other magnet is turned. So rather than it being this way, it is this way. And now these pages repel each other. They won't actually go near each other because of the magnets. If you have them where they're facing each other, so for example like this, your pages would stick together and you would struggle to open them. You'd be doing this. So just think about when you're placing your magnets, what's going to be opposite it? Is there going to be something where these two are then going to stick together and I can't open my book? The alternative is you could have one down here and one at the top, but these do actually have two to really secure it. So you could decide to have them opposite. If you don't want to think about that, or you think, okay, I'm not going to remember to do that, have one at the bottom here and then have this one at the top. And then when they close, they're nowhere near each other. So they're not going to attract. Does that make sense? Because magnets will have a positive and a negative side. And you need to be able to identify that. Some, I know basic grey magnets actually come with the plus and the minus on them, which is really helpful. Basic grey magnets are very expensive here in the UK, so I don't use them, but you could do. Another thing you can do is, if for example you've built your page and then you suddenly think, oh god, like this is really loose, it needs a magnet, but I've already done my paper, what can I do? You could use something like a wax seal to cover your magnet, or you could, for example on this album, you could use a decorative piece to hide your magnet. So behind here I've got a magnet, that's what that is stuck there for. It adds to the decoration but it hides the magnet. Same here, adds to the decoration but hides the magnet. Same here, adds to the decoration but hides the magnet. So you can find inventive ways of doing it. So here's some examples. Here I've got a magnet underneath here to hold this down. Here, because it's a pop-up, I've got a magnet to secure it down. Here I don't have a magnet. It doesn't need a magnet because the weight is holding it down. Okay, over this side, same here. This doesn't have a magnet. There's nothing magnetizing there. The magnet is on this side because the weight here holds it down. The last thing you can use your magnets for is to actually hold your books closed. So here I've got quite a few magnets. Let's see if we can find out how many I've got, because I've got quite a few. I can't remember how many we used for this. There we go, 6. So this, which is 8 1/4, I used 6 because it's holding the entire album together. So it is holding everything. It's holding everything together. So I needed a lot to secure the chipboard. So this is held closed with magnets. I used the belly band, but I don't need it because this is held closed with magnets. So they can be advantaged to help you hold your books completely closed as well. Now I personally use a lot of magnets just because I love the sound of the pages closing with the magnet. But I know a lot of people either can't get magnets or they find them to be really expensive where they live, or, you know, there's a variety of other ways you can close things. So you don't have to have magnets. Please don't take this video as a, right, I must buy magnets. You don't. The main thing to think about is put your magnets on before you add your design paper, because then you can add your decorative paper over the top and it hides the magnet. Choose a slightly better piece for this. So for example here, I could add this on there and now you can't see the magnet, but it still works. Still holds it. So if you do it first, now you don't have to worry about hiding it. But if you forget or you find you've done it all and the magnet isn't holding and you need to add extras, then you can use decorative pieces to help you disguise them. I think that's all the questions I normally get asked. So if this has been helpful to you, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. It means the absolute world to me. If you have any more magnet related questions, then please just drop them down in the description. If you have any suggestions or tips that I've missed, also add those down in the description for me. And yeah, that's all from me today. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me. Keep crafting and I'll see you all soon. Bye!